Hi everyone, my name is Arthur Barriga, and today I'm presenting my strategy guide, Building Emotional Connection in the Music Industry. This project explores a simple but important idea. While music has never been more accessible, it has also never felt more distant. And my goal is to think about how platforms can bring that emotional connection back. So, the problem. Right now, we live in a world of unlimited access to music across platforms, reduced emotional engagement, algorithm-driven consumption, lack of minimal interaction with music. But with platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, we can listen to anything, anytime. But that convenience comes with a trade-off. Music has become passive. Instead of engaging with it, we scroll through it, we skip it, we consume it. So while access has increased, emotional connection has actually declined, from going up to going down. So why does this matter in Gen Z? For Gen Z, music isn't just entertainment, it's identity. It's how people process emotions, remember moments, and express who they are. A single song can represent a breakup, a friendship, or a specific time in someone's life. So when platforms fail to support that emotional layer, they're missing what actually matters most to this audience. Let me ask you these questions. What do you think when you listen to a song from Queen, or a song from Michael Jackson, or maybe a song from Rihanna? You can feel many emotions. You can feel nostalgic. You can feel happy for bringing back a memory, and that gives you a feeling, who is nostalgia, and that is very important because you're not only listening to music, you are feeling the music. So the current platforms fall short. When we evaluate current platforms, we start to see the gap. Spotify is great at personalization, but it promotes passive listening. Apple Music offers curation, but very limited interaction. And YouTube allows conversation, but it's fragmented and structured. None of these platforms are designed for emotional expression. They're built for consumption, not connection. Now, remember the question that I asked you before. What do you think about a song like from the album Bad from Michael Jackson? You think, oh yeah, this song was very nice in the moment, or yeah, I love that song, or yeah, it reminds me to my dad. It's okay, but you think about it, you don't say it. You can say that sometimes, even if one of the platforms that I made. So Spotify is passive, Apple Music is limited, and YouTube is fragmented. And for me, this is a problem. Before streaming, if we look back, music used to feel very different. Discovery was social, where it was recorded at stores, radio DJs, or mixtapes, DVDs, CDs, movies. Music was shared between people. It created conversations. It built relationships. Music wasn't just something you listened to it was something you experienced together. In the past, music was shared through record stores. Also, people connect music to relationships, like making playlists or mixtapes for other ways to express themselves. And also, they get emotional. Songs were tied to real moments in life, helping people remember experience, feelings, memories. So in the past, sharing music was more personal because you can make playlists on mixtapes. You can share with someone a DVD or a CD, and also you can talk about it with something physical. For example, when I listen to a song from 2010, like Bruno Mars or maybe Lady Gaga, it reminds me to my childhood when I was going to school on my father's car with my sister, and she put on the radio her favorite songs. The songs from 2010s get me emotional because it's part of my childhood. So the insight, this leads to the core insight of my project. People don't just listen to music; they attach meaning to it. They connect sounds to memories, emotions, and identity. But today's platform don't give users space to express that meaning. That's the gap, and that's the opportunity. People don't just listen to music, they experience it. And at the end of the day, people don't just listen to music, they want to feel something about it. They connect sounds with their identity, their emotions, and their memories. But current platforms don't really give users a space to express that experience. What people actually say. If you actually analyze how people talk about music online, it becomes very clear. They're not talking about genres or production quality. They're saying things like, "This song reminds me of my childhood. This got me through a hard time." That tell us everything. Music is emotional. Storytelling and platforms aren't designed for that. So during my class, I made a research about what people actually say about music. I went to YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, and I got many things that are for me interesting. For example, the first picture is about the comment section on the Avril Lavigne video "Complicated." This video is from 2001. It was uploaded on YouTube like in 2010, and today, until this year, 2026, people are still talking about that video. saying things like, "Oh, I grew up with this song," or "This song reminds me to this moment." "I love Avril Lavigne." "I met her cousin." So people are still talking about that, and they always have kind of the same feeling: nostalgia, memories, happy childhood. All of them is about the same thing. They miss the old time when this video was popular. Same with a forum that I found on Reddit about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where people are rating an album, I mean their last album, and they say that it's good or it's bad, but most of them are comparing it with the last album, with their most famous album, Californication. And then I had in the last picture a meme that I found on TikTok about, 3 Days Grace albums, where a guy say, "I love this thing," and they show the first album, and then he still love it. Basically, people are talking about music until today, even if it's old, and that's very important because they're expressing their feelings. The shift. So the shift we need is not technological, it's experiential. We move from listening to feeling, consumption to expression, passive to interactive, platform to experience, and Spotify listenings. But Echo make you feel. Spotify represents listenings and Echo represents feelings. This is very important because this shift defines the future of music. And you're probably wondering, what is Echo? Let me break it down to you. To address this gap, I developed Echo. Echo is a conceptual social music platform built entirely around emotional connection. Instead of just playing music, it gives users a space to reflect, share, and connect to their experience. It transforms music from something you consume into something you express. Have you ever heard about the app called Letterboxd? An app when you can rate and log into movies and series? Well, Echo is basically the same but for music. Here, you can rate your favorite album, your favorite artist. You can give him one from 1 to 5 stars, and you can also talk about it with your friends. So basically, this is the concept of Echo, talking and saying anything you want about album. For example, you're scrolling down to a playlist on Spotify and you found this artist, but you go into his profile and he's very like not nobody knows him, nobody talks about him. He has only like 1,000 listeners per month, but and you like him, you like one of his songs, and you want to talk about it. So in Echo, you can do this. You can talk about anything you want, anything about the music industry, even if he's a new artist or if you don't know him. So what Echo does, Echo works, as I mentioned before, as an letterbox but for music. Uses like songs or albums, but instead of just rating, they write reflections. For example, a user hears a song from Graduation of Kanye West and writes it, what it means to them. You can say anything you want, even from 1 to 5 stars to each song of the album. Other users respond, relate, and build conversations. So every song becomes more than audio. It becomes your experience. Here, I developed some mockups about what could Echo look like, from the profiles of the people who are using the app, like Lucy, who has 13 albums reviews, 7 artist reviews, and has a total of 24 reviews. Also, you can make some quests and also some group questions. Like for example, if I could launch today, what album would you rate first? Personally, I will go for Bad from Michael Jackson. And then we have the final picture about what Echo could look like rating an album. Here you have Graduation from Kanye West. You can give 1 to 5 stars. You can make a whole description about what this album means to you. You can put your favorite songs on top, and also you can put about the first time that you listen to it. And then you have the options about like the post or disagree. People are gonna agree with you, they're gonna disagree, and also they're gonna share some comments with you. They're gonna make a whole discussion. How it feels. What makes Echo powerful is its tone. It doesn't act like a platform, it acts like a listener. It asks questions instead of pushing content. That small shift creates a space where users feel understood and more willing to open up. And what makes Echo different? What makes Echo different is that it aligns with real user behavior. Gen Z already connects with user music to identity, emotions, and memories. Echo simply gives them a static space to do that. It encourages expressions, builds community, and turns music into something meaningful again. So now, moving on the successful metrics. To measure success, I move beyond surface level metrics. Instead of just tracking views, I focus on emotional engagement. Things like how thoughtful reflections are, how often users return, and whether conversation continue or not. Because the goal isn't attention, the goal isn't connections. For me, if I had to say something that it will make why Echo is so successful in case it goes up now, It will be if people are coming back or not. If someone rates an album from and the Beatles and then comes back to talk about Guns N' Roses, for me that's successful because they're coming back and they still want to talk about their music. To conclude, the future of music is not better algorithm, it's deeper emotional connections, and the platforms that understand that will define the next era of the industry. Thank you very much.